The galactic exploration vessel Horizon drifted silently through the outer reaches of the Cygnus constellation. Commander Frank Lewis stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the large moon that orbited the gas giant below. After 20 years of space exploration, Frank thought he had seen everything the universe had to offer. He was wrong. "Commander, you need to see this," said Dr. Olivia Grant over the ship's communication system. Her voice carried an unusual mix of excitement and worry. Frank made his way to the excavation site where Olivia and her team had been working for the past 3 days. The moon's thin atmosphere required them to wear light environmental suits, but the gravity was comfortable enough to move around easily. "What did you find?" Frank asked as he approached the entrance to what appeared to be ruins of an ancient structure. Olivia, a respected xenorchaeologist with bright eyes and steady hands, pointed her light toward the inner wall. "We found inscriptions. They're in a language I've never seen before, but look at this symbol. It appears repeatedly." Frank studied the strange markings. A small blue circle with peculiar lines around it kept appearing throughout the alien text. "We believe it's referring to a planet," Olivia explained. "And the translation program is starting to make sense of some of this." "It's a warning, Frank." Security Officer Alan Martinez joined them, his hand resting on his sidearm out of habit. "A warning about what?" "A planet called Earth," Olivia said, brushing dust from another section of wall. "The message repeats in several places. Earth harbors the sleepers." "Never wake 'em," Frank frowned. "Earth? I've never heard of it." "It's not in any of our star charts," Olivia confirmed. "But the warning is clear, and it appears to be very important to whoever built this place." Over the next few days, the team discovered more ruins on the moon's surface. Each contained similar warnings about Earth and these mysterious sleepers. As they explored further, they found evidence that the ruins weren't built by a single civilization, but had been visited and added to by many different alien species over thousands of years. "It's like a galactic warning post," Olivia told Frank as they examined a chamber filled with artifacts from at least 7 distinct civilizations. "They all came here to leave the same message. Stay away from Earth, and whatever you do, don't wake what sleeps there." Back on the Horizon, Frank called a meeting with his senior staff. Olivia presented her findings to the group, showing images of the various warnings they had discovered. "The most recent additions to the ruins are approximately 10,000 years old," she explained. "But the oldest parts date back more than 200,000 years. Whatever these sleepers are, civilizations have feared them for a very long time." "Maybe they're extinct by now," suggested Peter Johnson, the ship's linguist. He was a tall, thin man with a talent for patterns and puzzles. 200,000 years is a long time. "The warnings wouldn't still be maintained if the threat was gone," Alan argued. His military training made him naturally cautious. "I think we should report this to the Galactic Council and move on. This isn't our problem to solve." Olivia shook her head firmly. "These ruins represent the largest collection of multi-species cooperation we've ever discovered. Something made all these different civilizations work together, something they feared deeply. As scientists, we have a duty to understand what that was." Frank considered both sides. His job was to explore, but also to keep his crew safe. "We'll send our findings to the Council and wait for instructions," he decided. The Council's response came faster than expected. Instead of caution, they expressed great interest in finding this mysterious planet and understanding the ancient warnings. Earth was located in a previously unmapped sector, and the Council wanted to know what could possibly be so dangerous that multiple civilizations would leave warnings about it. 2 weeks later, Frank found himself in a video conference with Council. "Director Judy Wright. We're assembling a special team for this mission, Commander," Director Wright explained. Her face on the screen looked serious but determined. "The Council believes that understanding these sleepers could provide valuable knowledge. If they were powerful enough to frighten so many advanced civilizations, we need to know more about them." "With all due respect, Director," Frank replied, "every single warning we found says not to wake them. Maybe we should listen." "We're not planning to wake anything, Commander. This is purely a research mission. Dr. Grant will lead the scientific team, and we're sending additional specialists. Your ship will transport them to Earth's coordinates? Frank knew better than to argue further. The council had made its decision. The new team members arrived 3 days later on a transport ship. Among them was xenobiologist Susan Clark, an expert in non-human life forms, and additional security personnel led by Officer Richard Bell. The Horizon was also upgraded with new scanning equipment, specifically designed to detect signs of hibernating life forms. As the ship prepared to depart for Earth's coordinates, Frank found Olivia in the observation room, staring out at the moon where they had found the warnings. Having second thoughts? He asked. She turned to him, her expression troubled. I can't help but wonder why so many different species across such vast periods of time all felt the need to warn others about these sleepers. What could possibly be that dangerous? We'll maintain safe protocols, Frank assured her. Observe from a distance first. No direct contact unless absolutely necessary. Olivia nodded but didn't look convinced. There's something else that bothers me, she said quietly. In all my years studying alien civilizations, I've never seen this level of agreement between species. Some of the civilizations that left warnings were enemies, yet they cooperated on this. Whatever is sleeping on Earth, Frank. It scared them enough to put aside their differences. The Horizon's engines hummed to life as the ship pulled away from the moon. On the bridge, Frank gave the order to set course for the unmapped system that supposedly contained Earth. As the stars stretched into bright lines around them, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were heading toward something that should have been left alone. Earth harbors the sleepers. Never wake them. The warning echoed in his mind as the Horizon jumped to faster-than-light speed, carrying its crew toward a mystery that countless alien civilizations had tried to protect the galaxy from. The research vessel Starseeker emerged from faster-than-light travel with a slight shudder. Captain Heather Morris felt the familiar sensation of normal space returning as the ship's systems adjusted. On the main screen before her, a small blue planet came into view. Is that it? She asked, studying the unremarkable world spinning slowly in the emptiness of space. Is that Earth? Science Director William Parker checked his instruments and nodded. Coordinates match what we extracted from the ruins. That's Earth. The bridge crew fell silent as they gazed at the planet. After weeks of travel and countless discussions about the ancient warnings, Earth seemed surprisingly ordinary. A blue sphere with white clouds, green landmasses, and vast oceans, it looked peaceful. Initial scans show an oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere, reported Lisa Cooper I. Officer. Her fingers moved quickly over her control panel. Temperature readings indicate it's habitable for our species. There's abundant plant and animal life, but no signs of advanced civilization or technology. Captain Morris frowned. No cities? No radio signals? Nothing that would indicate intelligent life? Nothing, Lisa confirmed. If there's something dangerous down there, it's not immediately obvious. Greg Turner, the communications specialist, suddenly straightened in his chair. Captain, I'm detecting something unusual. Very faint energy signatures coming from beneath the planet's surface? What kind of energy? Captain Morris asked, moving to look at his screen. Greg shook his head, puzzled. It's unlike anything I've seen before. Not quite electrical, not quite. Radiation. It's pulsing, almost like it's breathing. Science Director Parker joined them, his interest clearly piqued. The ancient warnings mentioned sleepers. Maybe they're in some kind of underground bunkers or chambers. Or hibernation pods, suggested Lisa. Many species practice suspended animation during long journeys. Captain Morris returned to her command chair and made a decision. We'll maintain high orbit for now. No landing until we know more about those energy signatures. I want detailed scans of the entire planet. Over the next several days, the Starseeker circled Earth, mapping its surface and attempting to penetrate deeper with their sensors. The crew worked in shifts, compiling data and discussing theories about what the ancient warnings might have meant. In the ship's main conference room, William Parker presented their findings to the senior staff. We've detected 16 locations around the planet with the same energy signature. They're all deep underground and all appear to be artificial structures. 16 sleeping chambers? Asked Kevin Mitchell, the ship's engineer. He was a practical man who preferred concrete problems he could solve with his hands. Possibly, William replied. Or 16 entrances to a larger complex. Our sensors can't penetrate beyond a certain depth. Greg Turner added, the energy readings fluctuate in a regular pattern, like a very slow heartbeat, once every 27 hours. Captain Morris studied the map showing the 16 locations. The warning said never to wake them. That implies these sleepers aren't just hibernating naturally. They were deliberately put to sleep, or they chose to sleep. The question is why, Lisa said quietly. What kind of beings are so dangerous that multiple alien civilizations would warn others to leave them alone? The room fell silent as everyone considered this question. The ancient warnings had been clear and consistent. Earth harbors the sleepers. Never wake them, but they hadn't explained why. We need more information, William finally said. I propose we send down a landing team to investigate one of the sites, just to observe. We won't attempt to enter any structures or disturb anything. Captain. Morris looked around the table, gauging reactions. Most of the senior staff nodded in agreement, though she noticed Kevin Mitchell seemed hesitant. You have concerns, Engineer Mitchell? She asked. Kevin cleared his throat. Something doesn't add up, Captain. If these sleepers are as dangerous as the warnings suggest, why aren't there any defenses? No orbital platforms, no surface installations, nothing to prevent ships like ours from approaching. It's like leaving your most dangerous criminals in an unlocked cell. Greg Turner leaned forward. Maybe they don't need defenses. Maybe they're dangerous enough on their own. Or maybe, Lisa suggested, the warnings themselves were the defense. Enough civilizations agreed to spread the word, making physical barriers unnecessary. Captain Morris considered all these points. We came here to learn, not to hide in orbit. We'll proceed with caution, but we will proceed. Director Parker, assemble your landing team. First Officer Cooper, prepare the shuttle. We launch in 6 hours. As the meeting broke up, Kevin approached the captain privately. There's something else I found, Captain. Something odd. Go on, she prompted. Some areas around these energy signatures show evidence of containment fields. Very subtle, very advanced. I almost missed them. Kevin pulled up a diagram on his tablet. They're not designed to keep something out. They're designed to keep something in. Captain Morris studied the diagram. You're sure about this? Kevin nodded. I've run the analysis 3 times. Whatever these sleepers are, someone went to extraordinary lengths to make sure they stay where they are. The captain's expression grew more serious. Update the landing team's briefing. I want everyone aware of these containment fields. Under no circumstances are they to be crossed or tampered with. Yes, Captain, Kevin replied. Though his face showed he wasn't completely reassured, 6 hours later, the landing shuttle departed from the Starseeker. On board were Science Director Parker, Dr. Olivia Grant from the original Discovery team, Security Officer Alan Martinez, and 3 specialists, xenobiologist Susan Clark, linguist Peter Johnson, and geologist Nancy White. As the shuttle entered Earth's atmosphere, Olivia stared out the window at the approaching landscape. The blue sky and white clouds looked so normal, so unthreatening. It was hard to believe that something dangerous enough to frighten multiple alien civilizations lay hidden beneath the surface. We're approaching the designated landing zone, announced the pilot. North American continent, mountain region. The energy signature is approximately 2 kilometers from our landing point. The shuttle descended through wispy clouds, revealing a vast forest spreading across rolling hills and up the sides of towering mountains. No signs of civilization were visible in any direction. It's beautiful, Olivia whispered. Alan Martinez checked his weapon one last time. Beautiful things can still be deadly, Doctor. Remember why we're here. The shuttle touched down in a small clearing. As the team prepared to disembark, Science Director Parker addressed them one final time. Remember our mission parameters. We observe only, we collect data. We do not attempt to interact with or disturb anything that might be related to these sleepers. Is that clear? Everyone nodded. Then let's find out what has the galaxy so afraid of this little blue planet. Parker said as the shuttle door opened, revealing the pristine wilderness of Earth. The air on Earth was surprisingly sweet. Olivia Grant took a deep breath as she stepped out of the shuttle. Their environmental suits were lightweight, designed more for monitoring their health than for protection. Tests had shown the atmosphere was safe to breathe. Spread out in pairs, ordered Alan Martinez, the security officer. Standard search pattern. Stay in radio contact at all times. The landing team moved through the forest, scanners in hand. Tall trees with green leaves created patches of shade on the ground. Small animals scurried away as the team approached. Birds called from the branches above. This doesn't feel like a dangerous planet, whispered Susan Clark, the xenobiologist, as she collected samples of plants. It's so peaceful, Peter Johnson, walking beside her, nodded. The most dangerous predators are often the ones that don't appear threatening at first. Science Director Parker and Olivia headed toward the energy signature their scanners had detected. Alan Martinez followed close behind them, his hand never far from his weapon. The signal is getting stronger, Olivia said, checking her device. It's coming from the base of that mountain. The team regrouped at the foot of a large mountain. The forest thinned out here, revealing a cliff face of dark gray stone. The readings indicate the energy source is behind this rock wall, Parker said, running his hand over the smooth surface. There must be an entrance somewhere. Geologist Nancy White examined the cliff with special scanning equipment. This isn't natural, she announced after several minutes. The rock face has been altered, polished, and there are traces of artificial materials mixed with the stone. Can you find a way in? Asked Martinez. Nancy adjusted her scanner. There's a hollow space behind this section, and ... She paused, moving her hand across the stone. There's something here. Some kind of mechanism? She pressed gently on a particular spot. Nothing happened at first. Then, with a low rumbling sound, a section of the cliff face slid sideways, revealing a dark passage leading into the mountain. Well done, Parker said, peering into the darkness. Martinez, thoughts on security? Alan studied the opening with a practiced eye. No visible traps or alarm systems. But that doesn't mean they're not there. He took a small drone from his pack and sent it floating into the passage. This will scout ahead. The team watched the drone's video feed on their tablets as it moved. Deeper into the mountain. The passage was smooth and straight, clearly artificial. It extended for nearly 100 meters before opening into a larger chamber. Look at that, whispered Olivia as the drone's lights illuminated the chamber walls. The walls were covered with inscriptions and images, similar to what they had found in the ruins, but more extensive. The drone moved slowly, recording everything. Some of these symbols match what we found on the moon, Peter said, studying the images, but there are new elements too. I'll need time to analyze them, Martinez recalled the drone. The passage seems safe enough. We'll proceed with caution. The team activated their suit lights and entered the mountain. The air inside was cool and dry. Their footsteps echoed slightly as they walked the long passage. When they reached the chamber, they stood in silence, taking in the vastness of it. The ceiling arched high above them, and the walls curved in a perfect circle. Every surface was covered with inscriptions and images. These are warnings, Peter said as he began to work with his translation device. Like the ones we found before, but more detailed. They're telling a story. While Peter worked on the translations, Eric Foster, the team's archaeologist, examined the physical aspects of the chamber. This structure is incredibly old, he reported. My initial estimates suggest at least 50,000 years. But it's been maintained. Look at how clean everything is. No dust, no debris. Maintained by who? Asked Martinez, looking around suspiciously. We haven't seen any signs of intelligent life on this planet. No one had an answer for that question. Nancy White's voice came from across the chamber. I found something. There's a door here, leading deeper. The team gathered around Nancy. A rectangular outline was visible in the wall, with no obvious handle or control panel. More symbols here, Peter said, examining the area around the door. They single quotes dar more urgent. Warnings not to go further. He worked with his device for a few minutes. It says, beyond this point lie the sleepers. To wake them is to invite the end of all things. A heavy silence fell over the group. Director. Parker, Martinez said finally. I recommend we return to the shuttle and report our findings before proceeding further. Parker looked torn. We came all this way, And we've already found valuable information, Olivia pointed out. We should analyze what we have before taking. More risks? Parker nodded reluctantly. You're right. We'll document this chamber thoroughly, then return to the ship to plan our next steps. As the team began setting up equipment to record the inscriptions, Nancy continued examining the structure of the chamber. She placed her scanner against various sections of the wall. This is remarkable, she said after a while. The material of this structure is unlike anything I've seen before. It's designed to last for millions of years. Whoever built this wanted it to endure for an extremely long time. Why build something to last millions of years just to deliver a warning? Susan wondered. Because whatever is being contained here needed to be contained for that long, Eric suggested. These weren't temporary measures. This was meant to be permanent. While the others worked, Peter continued translating the wall inscriptions. His expression grew increasingly troubled. According to this, he said, pointing to one section, an advanced civilization once lived on Earth. They called themselves. There's no direct translation, but something like the first ones or the originators. They reached a level of development far beyond what we know. What happened to them? Asked Olivia. Peter moved to another section of wall. It says they disappeared almost overnight, and that's when the sleepers were first contained. Martinez frowned. Are you saying these sleepers eliminated an entire advanced civilization? I don't know, Peter admitted. The text isn't that specific, but whatever happened, it was sudden and complete. As the team continued working, a soft vibration began to run through the floor of the chamber. It was barely noticeable at first, but gradually increased. Is anyone else feeling that? Susan asked, looking down at her feet. Nancy checked her scanner. The energy readings are spiking. Something's happening. Suddenly, the rectangular door that Nancy had discovered earlier began to glow with a faint blue light. Lines of illumination spread from it, following the patterns of symbols on the wall. Everyone back to the passage, Martinez ordered, drawing his weapon. Now, but before they could move, the door slid open silently, revealing a long corridor beyond. At the end of the corridor, they could see a vast chamber filled with what looked like thousands of transparent pods. No one moved. The team stood frozen, staring at the thousands of pods visible in the chamber beyond the open door. Each pod was about the size of a human adult, made of a transparent material that glowed with a soft blue light. Inside each pod was the dim outline of a humanoid figure. We need to leave, Martinez said, his voice low and urgent. Right now. Science Director Parker seemed unable to look away from the pods. They're still alive in there, after all this time. That's why the warning said never to wake them, Olivia whispered. They're in some kind of suspended animation. Martinez grabbed Parker's arm. Director, we need to go. Our orders were clear. Observe only, no contact. Parker finally nodded, and the team began to back away toward the entrance passage. But Dr. Susan Clark, the xenobiologist, moved closer to the open door instead. Susan, what are you doing? Olivia called out. We can't just leave, Susan replied, her eyes fixed on the pods. This is the discovery of a lifetime. Think about what we could learn from them. Think about why every advanced civilization we know of left warnings about them, Martinez countered. Susan paused, then said, We don't have to wake them. But we should at least try to understand what they are. I can set up a probe to analyze one of the pods without disturbing its occupant. Parker hesitated, then made a decision. One probe. Minimal impact. Just enough to gather basic data. Then, we leave and report to the Starseeker. Martinez looked like he wanted to object, but he kept silent as Susan and engineer Kevin Mitchell worked together to prepare a small probe. The device was designed to scan objects without physical contact, using various sensors to collect data about composition and energy patterns. "Ready?" Kevin said after a few minutes. "The probe will hover near one of the pods, run its analysis, and return. No contact, no disruption." "Proceed," Parker ordered. Kevin activated the probe, which floated silently into the chamber of pods. The team watched on their tablets as it approached one of the closest containers. The pod's blue glow seemed to pulse slightly as the probe came near. "Incredible readings," Susan murmured, studying the data as it came in. "The being inside appears humanoid, but its cellular structure is unlike anything I've ever seen. It's almost as if the cells are in a state of quantum superposition." "Meaning?" asked Martinez. "Meaning they exist in multiple states simultaneously," Susan explained. "It's not just suspended animation. It's something far more complex." The probe continued its analysis, moving in a slow circle around the pod. Everything seemed to be going according to plan. Then, without warning, the probe's lights flickered and went out. "What happened?" Parker demanded. Kevin checked his control pad. "Power failure, but that's impossible. The probe has multiple backup systems." Before anyone could respond, the blue glow of the pod being scanned suddenly intensified. The light pulsed rapidly, and a low humming sound filled the air. "Get the probe back now," Martinez ordered. "I can't," Kevin said, frantically working his controls. "It's completely dead." The humming grew louder, and the light from the pod became almost painfully bright. The team shielded their eyes as the glow spread to nearby pods. "We need to leave," Martinez shouted over the noise. "Everyone back to the shuttle, now!" The team turned to run, but stopped short when they saw that the door they had entered through was now closed. They were trapped in the chamber with the increasingly active pods. "Find another way out," Parker ordered, trying to maintain calm as they searched frantically for an exit. The pod that had been scanned began to change. The transparent material became cloudy, then clear again. The humming reached a peak, then suddenly stopped. The silence that followed was more frightening than the noise had been. Everyone turned to look at the pod. Its top section was sliding open. "Nobody move," whispered Martinez, raising his weapon. The pod completed its opening sequence. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the figure inside sat up. It looked almost human. 2 arms, 2 legs, a head with features in the usual places. But there was something subtly wrong about its proportions. Its limbs were too long, its head slightly too large. Its skin had a pale, almost translucent quality. The being opened its eyes. They were completely black with no visible iris or pupil and seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Those eyes moved slowly around the chamber, taking in each member of the team. Peter Johnson, the linguist, stepped forward despite Martinez's warning gesture. "We come in peace," he said, using the standard first contact greeting. "We mean no harm." The being tilted its head slightly as if puzzled. Then, to everyone's shock, it spoke in perfect English. "You have awakened me," it said. Its voice was neither male nor female, but somehow both and neither at the same time. "Why?" The team exchanged confused glances. Peter recovered first. "It was an accident. We were only observing. We didn't mean to disturb your rest." The being studied them for a long moment. "You are not from this world." "No," Parker confirmed, stepping forward to join Peter. "We are explorers from another star system." "Yet you appear similar to the caretakers," the being observed. "Caretakers?" Olivia asked. "Those left behind to watch over this world while we sleep," the being explained. It climbed out of its pod with fluid grace, standing taller than any human. "You may call me Adam if you require a designation." "Why were you sleeping?" Susan asked, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. Adam turned those black eyes to her. "For the safety of all, our power became too great. We chose to sleep, rather than consume everything." You're not aliens, Olivia said suddenly, understanding dawning on her face. You're from Earth originally, aren't you? Adam nodded once. This is our world, our cradle. We evolved here long before the caretakers. The caretakers, Parker said. Slowly, are they humans? Like us? They are lesser versions, created to maintain the world during our sleep, Adam replied. They were simple beings when we began our rest. It seems they have advanced more than anticipated. Martinez kept his weapon ready, though he suspected it would be useless against this being. The ancient warnings about Earth, about never waking your kind, why were they so afraid? Adam's expression didn't change, but something like amusement seemed to emanate from him. Because they remembered what happened the last time one of us woke prematurely. An entire sector of space was ... altered, billions died. The fabric of reality was torn. And now you're awake, Parker said, his voice barely audible. Yes, Adam confirmed. And I am hungry after such a long sleep. The word hungry hung in the air like a threat. Adam took a step toward the team, and Martinez raised his weapon higher. Stay back, Martinez warned. Adam paused, looking at the weapon with curiosity rather than fear. Your device cannot harm. He said simply. Maybe not, Martinez replied, but I'm still asking you to keep your distance. To everyone's surprise, Adam nodded and stopped moving. I understand your fear. It is natural. Captain Morris's voice suddenly came through their communication devices. Landing team report. We're detecting massive energy spikes from your location. Parker pressed his comm unit. Captain, we've made contact with one of the sleepers. The situation is ... complicated. Get back to the shuttle immediately, Morris ordered. That's a direct command. Adam tilted his head, listening to the exchange. Your leaders are concerned. They should be. What exactly do you mean by hungry? Olivia asked, trying to understand the being before them. Adam's black eyes seemed to look through her rather than at her. My kind does not consume as you do. We absorb energy, matter, information. After millennia of sleep, I need to ... replenish. At what cost? Parker asked quietly. The cost depends on choices yet to be made, Adam replied. He walked slowly around the chamber, examining the equipment the team had brought. Your technology is primitive, but interesting. You have advanced more than expected. As Adam moved, the team noticed something strange. The air around him seemed to shimmer slightly, and small objects near him, dust particles, a small pebble, floated upward before disappearing entirely. He's absorbing matter, Susan whispered to Parker, just like he said. Adam stopped in front of a blank section of wall. He placed his hand against it, and the wall began to glow. Complex patterns of light spread outward from his touch, forming what looked like a control panel. What are you doing? Martinez demanded. Learning, Adam replied without turning. It has been 50,000 years since I last stood in this chamber. Much has changed in the universe. The patterns of light shifted and changed as Adam moved his fingers across them. Images appeared on the wall, stars, planets, galaxies. Your people have explored only a tiny fraction of space, Adam observed. You are very young. Parker took a cautious step forward. Adam, we need to understand why your kind chose to sleep. You said your power became too great. What does that mean? Adam turned from the wall, the images continuing to shift behind him. We evolved beyond physical limitations. Our minds could alter reality. Our thoughts could create or destroy matter. We became as gods, but found that such power came with a price. What price? Asked Olivia. Hunger, Adam said simply. The more we used our abilities, the more we needed to consume. Planets, stars, entire systems were not enough. We were destroying everything. The team exchanged horrified glances as Adam continued. Some of us wanted to continue, to consume until nothing remained but us. Others argued for restraint, for finding a balance. In the end, we chose sleep as the only solution. We created your kind, simpler beings to watch over Earth while we rested. You created humans? Peter asked in disbelief. A primitive version, Adam confirmed. You have evolved considerably. You have awareness, intelligence, creativity. Unexpected traits in a caretaker species. The door to the chamber suddenly slid open. The team turned, hoping for escape, but instead saw Captain Morris and a security team entering with weapons drawn. "Captain, no!" Parker called out. "Don't provoke him!" "Captain." Morris ignored the warning. "All of you, back to the shuttle now," she ordered. Then to Adam, "You will remain here." Adam studied the newcomers with mild interest. "More of your kind. You all share the same basic design. Fascinating how you've developed such diversity from our simple template. Did you not hear me?" Morris demanded. "You will remain here." "I cannot," Adam replied. "Now that I am awake, I must decide." "Decide what?" Parker asked. "Whether to rejoin my kind in sleep or to awaken them." Adam turned back to the wall of light. "There are thousands of us here, and millions more in similar chambers across this planet. If awakened, we would once again become the dominant species of this galaxy, and destroy everything in the process, according to what you just told us." Olivia pointed out. Adam nodded. "That is the choice. Sleep and allow other life to flourish, or awaken and reclaim our place." Captain Morris signaled her security team to spread out. "We won't let you wake the others." Adam looked at her with something almost like pity. "You cannot stop me." "But perhaps you can convince me." The chamber fell silent. Adam waited, watching them expectntly. Dr. Olivia Grant stepped forward. "You said we developed unexpected traits? Awareness, intelligence, creativity. We've also developed something else in our evolution, compassion. The ability to care about beings other than ourselves. An interesting adaptation," Adam acknowledged. "Is it possible your kind lacked this?" Olivia asked. "Is that why some of you wanted to consume everything without concern for other life?" Adam considered this. "We had perfect knowledge, perfect power, but perhaps we lacked perfect wisdom." "Then learn from us," Olivia suggested. "In your absence, the universe has grown rich with diverse life. Countless species, countless civilizations, all with their own gifts to offer, all with their own perspective on existence. And what would I gain by allowing this diversity to continue?" Adam asked. "Something greater than power," Olivia said. "Connection, understanding, the chance to be part of something larger than yourself." Adam's expression changed subtly. For the first time, he looked uncertain. "My kind believed we had reached the pinnacle of evolution," he said slowly, "that nothing remained for us to learn. Perhaps that was our mistake." He turned and moved toward a large control panel at the center of the chamber. Everyone tensed, weapons raised. "This controls the awakening sequence for all chambers on this planet," Adam explained. "With a thought, I could activate it." He placed his hand over the panel. Light gathered around his fingers. The team watched, hardly daring to breathe, and then, to their surprise, Adam withdrew his hand. The light faded. "I choose sleep," he said finally. "But not yet. First, I wish to learn about what my kind missed during our long rest. To understand how our simple caretakers became complex beings capable of traversing the stars." Adam turned to Captain Morris. "Allow me time among your people. Let me see what you have built. Then I will return to sleep with new knowledge to share when my kind eventually awakens." "And if we refuse?" Morris asked. "Then I wake my brothers and sisters now," Adam replied simply. "And this conversation becomes meaningless." Morris looked at Parker, who nodded slightly. "One representative," Morris said firmly, "to visit our ship only, under constant guard. And you return here within 7 days." Adam smiled for the first time. It was an eerily human expression on his alien face. "Agreed, I will observe only. And when I return to sleep, I will carry the memory of your kind with me. Perhaps in another 50,000 years, when we wake again, our species will be ready to exist together." As Adam followed them out of the chamber, the pods behind him continued their slow, rhythmic pulsing. The sleepers remained at rest for now, and the warnings that had echoed across the stars for millennia remained as relevant as ever. Earth harbors the sleepers. Never wake them. because when they finally do wake, the fate of the galaxy will depend on what they've learned during their dreams.